technical glitch that we've run into, I think we move on to the panel discussion from here. I would request the participants to stand by for a very interesting discussion that's coming up. And the panel will be moderated by two of our very learned colleagues we have with us here today. I take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Vinod Kumar, with a Bachelor's of Engineering degree from PSG College, Coimbatore, extensive industry experience across various national and international organizations. He's a member and resource personnel with CAHO. He is certified quality implementer for hospitals. He's a member of ISHRE, Kochi chapter, and some of the major hospitals he's worked with includes Rajagiri Hospital and Shankar Eye Hospital. Welcome, Mr. Vinod, to our session, and I look forward to your moderation on the panel. As a co-moderator, we have Mr. Arun Kumar, who brings to the table about 13 years of experience in his capacity as a biomedical engineer. He's a graduate in engineering, electronics, and communication, holding an international MBA degree as well in operations. He also has extensive exposure across hospitals and the healthcare industry within the country. Currently, he is head of biomedical engineering with Fortis Mohali. So with this, I hand over the session to Mr. Vinod and Mr. Arun. We look forward to an insightful evening with both of you and our panelists.
Good evening, all, and good evening, Dr. Sudeshna. Thanks a lot for the introduction. This is fantastic. And thanks to CAHO once again for this fantastic program. As usual, it is one of the most leading subjects that people would like to take up and take home something as they go after the meeting. Now, as the moderator, myself, Vinod, and my co-moderator, Arun, we have the panelists, Mr. Ranjith Samuel, Dr. Pankaj Arora, Dr. Samik, and Mr. Vikram. Welcome all of you on board, and let's start the first round. We have two rounds as far as the panel discussion is concerned. The first one is on the organizational challenges of biomedical equipment. So let me ask
Mr. Vinod,
yeah.
Can I just put in something? Dr. Samik had to step out for some clinical, work, and so he won't. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Samik won't be there in the panel, okay. And he just texted me he had some urgent clinical work call. Okay. So maybe excuse him for today.
Yes.
And we can move on with the other panelists. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Noted. Well noted. Dr. Pankaj, the first question is to you. Knowing biomedical equipment life cycle, what are the common hurdles the organization has to face?
Few of the things that I mentioned regarding what kind of equipment that an organization has to purchase, but I think there are certain things that we all feel that the organization has to keep those things in mind while thinking about purchasing an equipment. One, for example, space. I mean, what we have seen is that we have purchased equipments, but once the equipment landed with our institutions, we did not have the space to install those, or it required a huge modification or a huge civil work, which was a cost onto itself. Now, because that was not factored in at the initial budgeting stage, that equipment remained with us without being utilized for a certain amount of period of time. Second, I believe, is the utilization of the equipment. Why is it that in our facilities that dialysis machines are not used 24/7? Our CT scans are not used 24/7. Our MRI is not used 24/7. Why only one shift? I mean, they can be utilized in all the shifts, but we do not use them. And I think there are multiple mechanisms where we can actually plan the utilization. So I think the planning part and the utilization part are two key challenges that we face nowadays. I believe that.
Well said, Dr. Pankaj. It's a teamwork as such. The end user, the management, the finance team, and the biomedical team. So with that, the facility comes into play with the management so that everybody knows what's going to come and how are we going to use it beneficially. Thank you, Doctor. Now, Arun, are you there?
Hi, sir. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Please continue, Arun. Arun, you may continue.
Mr. Vinod, I think so. Arun had some technical glitches which he texted me. So maybe you can continue, and once he's got a stable
My
network.
question to
we
Mr. Sami.
will- Okay, great.
Okay. So
Go
how
ahead.
does statutory essential documentation adds up to the organizational challenges?
Okay.
Ranjith Samuel?
Yep. Good evening again. I think knowing the list of statutory documentation is essential for every hospital. It is evolving state-wise. There are differences, and every season there are changes and add-ons by the government, by the state government and the central government. I think having a proper know-how and if required, seeking support from colleagues across the healthcare system and getting updated is very essential in these times. And internally in the hospital, I think the challenge is having a single point of contact who takes responsibility for maintaining a list of all the statutory documents and having the triggers at the appropriate renewal times. Because most of the time it comes of sudden surprise that somebody lands up at doorstep and says, your particular license is expired. So I think it's important internally, to have a single point of contact who takes full ownership of statutory guidelines. That's my
Well
reply.
said, Samuel Ji, because like you say, one person should dedicate themselves. They should be dedicated for this tracking of the statutory, not only biomedical, the entire facility statutory documentation. It will trigger off when it's due and when that has to be upgraded or renewed. Thank you so much. Dr. Samik is not there. So let me put the question to all the three of the panelists. Does accreditation standards requirement or compliance pose any additional challenge to the organization? Dr. Pankaj, are you there? Does the accreditation standards or compliance pose any additional challenge to the organization?
See, as an organization, if we are not geared up to accreditation and the whatever it entails, then it would obviously pose certain challenges to all of us. But however, once you get into the grind of it, I think it is more a beneficial than a challenge. And I think every adversity brings an opportunity. And standardization, all those things bring a certain responsibility on us. But I think it's beneficial rather than a challenge. I would put it that way. I mean, my co-panelists may differ or may add on to it what I've said.
Well said, Doctor. Arun?
So thank you so much, sir. So my next question to Mr. Vikram. So just we know why we say innovation is a boon. I mean, what about challenges faced while working on an idea?
So there are multiple challenges. Challenges is everywhere, I believe. The only thing which I feel is a challenge for the upcoming innovator is that they are not aware about the government policies and the support which government is providing them to become a successful entrepreneur. Like majority of people are not aware that government is distributing grants up to 50 lakh just on a basis like you have an idea without any affiliation, without being working for any government organization. If you are an individual, government provides 50 lakh rupees of grant so that you can develop a product which have a national impact or an international impact in your free time, where government is going to support you. Then there are entrepreneurship in residence programs. So there are multiple such schemes which helps basically innovators to leave their regular job while sustaining their families and their dependents and turn out to be a successful entrepreneur. So I think that is the biggest challenge which innovators or innovation ecosystem is facing. Rest challenge is a part of life. So I don't think challenge in a job is different from challenges in entrepreneurship life. So both are there, but the thing is lack of awareness.
Thanks, Vikram. I think we should take it as a boon, definitely, is it not? Salim, Arun, we go to round 2.
So thank you so much. Yeah, so now next round is solution approach way forward. So I would like to ask Dr. How does the organization handle replacements or a fast track condemnation process to meet the needs?
I think again, I will repeat it that the whole crux is to go back to the drawing board. I mean, for the upgradation or the rapid technological advancements, I think we can have conditions in our tender documents or in our contracts. I mean, when I say tender, I'm speaking from a public health perspective, public health organization perspective. But even for the corporate organizations, whenever they enter into a contract for any biomedical equipment, especially life-saving and a costly equipment, they can build in that if you upgrade in another 3 years or 4 years, that will entail an automatic replacement of my own equipment. I mean, because what you see, what companies does, they are very smart. They will bring minor upgrades and then they will say that we have just changed technology. I mean, you look at your phones, I won't again name the companies, but every year they bring on new models and slowly, they will start slowing your older models. I mean, what is this? Your older, and persons who are into this tech know-how, they always say, don't buy the latest. Buy a one version, which is a previous version, because it has stabilized, all the bugs have been fixed, and it has ample support. I mean, so building in your contracts that if you bring an upgrade in another 3 years or 4 years, the company will automatically do that for you for free of cost. Second is probably buyback that we have all started inserting in our contracts, that if there is a rapid technological change that we need to cater to, then there is a buyback, so that I don't go into that whole process of condemnation again. In any case, being an obsolete is a criteria for condemnation. But once you have a buyback clause installed, then probably your process gets hastened up. I think these two things can help us change fast.
Yes, Dr. Pankaj, I would also add to a point like, the initial phase of designing the end users' requirements and the market's current technology has to be weighed as the biggest weightage that you should give before you purchase the system. And as you say, the contractual agreements like your maintenance and comprehensive maintenance, etc., plus the buyback policy should be brought into at the sales stage or the design stage, so that you are aware of the process of changing and you don't need to start the whole process when you feel that technology has changed. Well said, sir. Mr. Samuel, the next question is for you. Give us 2 takeaways with respect to effective way of handling equipment process in specifically on the quality aspects.
Okay, so in the hospital, every hospital usually has a quality department. And I think for a biomedical department to align with the quality department is very essential. I think having a collaborative approach very often, maybe once a month, sitting down and discussing is essential. Having the key performance indicators agreed to what can be provided, what can be done on ground is essential. And I think discussing the SOP, what is desired to be followed by the biomedical department is something that we have a clear understanding in what goes down into every department. So I think that collaborative approach between the biomedical and quality team is the crux of having a good, healthy, functioning biomedical program.
Well said, Samuel. I would also add one point. If you could have a quality champion within the biomedical team, the responsibility then comes to them, so that they become part of the quality aspect by default. Arun, one more question. We can take 2 more questions.
Just a second, Mr. Vinod.
Yeah.
Ms. Nandini, can you please unshare your screen? You can share it once the panel is over.
Yeah, we have 2 more questions. I mean, we can take 2 more questions, Dr. Sudensha.
That's fine. That's fine. Absolutely fine.
Thank you.
So, okay. So, thank you. Thanks to Mr. Vikram. Okay, so well said by Mr. Samuel regarding the quality department as well as the biomedical is very essential part of the hospital. So my last question to Dr. Samik, like, is the accreditation role in BME protective? If it is yes, then how?
Samik is not on board.
Yeah.
I think if Samuel can take the question.
Yes.
Is the accreditation role in biomedical engineering protective? If yes, then how?
Can you repeat it again?
Is the accreditation role in biomedical engineering protective? Sorry.
Protective in what manner? I'm just trying to understand.
If yes, how? I mean, what does accreditation do and protect the biomedical engineering department as such? Because finally, it gives us the safety that's needed for the patients. That end of the day, that's what we look at.
Sure. So in my understanding and always my approach to accreditation is it's primary and it's very essential for every hospital to go through it. And it does have certain challenges at the initial period, but I think end result and every year going forward, it only brings in better improvements in the department and transparency, what is happening within the department to every other function in the hospital. I think that again is teamwork, and what we do is what we speak outside. And I think that's again sharing your dashboards, and people can question you if you're doing it right and could you do it better. I think that's what is quality. I mean, looks into your every department, not just biomedical. But yes, that's my take on it.
Excellent. It would be wise to say that compare a hospital that does not have accreditation with a hospital that has gone through an accreditation. You can see that huge difference in quality with reference to how BME is going to be and how the accreditation role protects the BME department as such to give you quality in patient safety. Arun, you can give the last question. One more we can take. Mr. Vikram, it's for you. Arun? Have we lost him?
Mr. Vinod,
Yeah, no.
Arun, please come on.
Okay. So thanks to Mr. Samuel, the panel discussion. My sincere thanks to panelists, Dr. Samik, Dr. Pankaj, Mr. Samuel, and Mr. Vikram. Also, thanks Kumar.
Arun, your voice is breaking. Arun, your voice is breaking. I think so. Mr. Vinod, you can take on the question.
I'll take the question and wind it up. Mr. Vikram, the question is for you. What's the role of a team in innovation and how to engage clinicians into that innovation? It's a teamwork, definitely. And how do you bring clinicians into the team? It's a difficult question, right?
Yeah. So classically speaking, a team is just like a soul or organs of a body. I have never seen a startup with a weak team succeeding. So if one of your organ doesn't perform, so if one of the team members does not perform, you cannot go for a long. Same happens with the startup or with every organization, even with the big organization or small, irrespective of size, team is an essence. And answering the second part, how we can go ahead with the clinicians or how we can engage. So the ultimate answer or for everything is what is in there for me or for other. So same goes with the clinician. So we need to study the clinician first, what's his interest. So some clinician has the working, so clinician who we are engaging should be working on the same subject. And then they have their own research papers or research agendas where if the things are lining, the synergy would be there, and certainly he will end up into your KOL, which is again a long-term association. And the second thing, which I believe is irrespective of clinician or anybody else, if somebody is putting his energy, time, and efforts, so one should need to work on how they can incentivize them. It could be anything, not only about monetary incentivization, but there are multiple ways to incentivize for one person who is putting your effort, energy, and time. So being a startup or an innovator, one is easily able to figure it out. What's the requirement? What's the takeout for the person's time and effort? And then we can proceed in a very longer manner, irrespective of putting money or not. And if you are well funded, then certainly you should incentivize in monetary support as well.
Okay, Mr. Vikram, thank you so much. We don't have much of a time to go ahead with the panel discussion. I think we should come to an end. And once again, a big thanks to the panelists, Mr. Ranjith Samuel, Dr. Pankaj Arora, and Mr. Vikram. Thanks a lot for your valuable answers to these questions. And I hand over the mic back to Dr. Sultan Shah. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Vikram, we had to cut short your talk. Apologies for that, because we have to be on time. So, right. So, of course, I think
I'd like to thank Arun for the coordination, though he is in an area where there is a signal issue. Thanks, Arun, for the coordination. You tried your best. Happy about it. Thank you.
Sure. Before we go on to the final part of this, there were just two questions which are there in the Q&A box. And if Dr. Arora is okay with it, can I place them to you, sir? Because they seemed quite interesting. There is one participant who says that, sir, did the biomedical engineer have eligibility in procurement of implants? And if yes, then how will they keep an inventory for that?
It's a bit of a tricky question because I have not seen a biomedical engineer getting into the implants side of it. The maintenance of inventory is, you can always do that. I mean, there are different ways that you can do it. And I know of an institution, a public health institution, where when we give a contract to a particular vendor, the vendor establishes its store so that all kind of implants are there. Because a lot of, in case of, let's say, orthopedic implants, when you open up a patient, then you realize what kind of screws exactly will fit into it. So you cannot actually sometimes prejudge the kind of thing. So they set up their shop in the OT, the authorized vendor with whom you have an RC. Then once they have done once you consume those implants, then they issue a utilization certificate, and the vendor is billed. The institute is billed and the vendor is paid according to that. I mean, the inventory management can be done, but I don't know whether a biomedical engineer has a role in implants per se. I mean, that would be my take of it.
Okay, excellent. So that was in fact the last question which I had from the Q&A chat as far as I can see. Ms. Nandini, are you ready with your presentation? I would again request you to keep it confined to 2 minutes, please, because we've already overshot our time.
Sure. So I'll just have a short video to share, which is about, like, we discussed so much about innovation in healthcare. So I have what Mindray has for healthcare, what innovative thing we have. I'll just like to share the video. I hope my screen is visible. One sec. I'll include the sound. Okay, fine. So there you go.
Mindray's latest mConnect IT solution is set to raise the bar for integrated patient monitoring systems, helping hospitals balance efficiency and patient care. Patient health can change dramatically at any point. Starting from pre-hospital rescue, mConnect is ready to link each patient to the hospital with real-time vital signs, ultrasound images, and other patient data collected and transferred directly for advanced preparations and diagnoses. In the OR, responding to a patient's reactions to anesthesia requires a connected workflow for greater precision and foresight. Displaying all supporting data together allows the anesthesiologist to fully understand the patient's condition and make timely and informed decisions. mConnect features simple and connected patient transfer, with the robust N1 monitor securing seamless monitoring and real-time data uploading. Slicing directly into the module slot, the N1 and its record are now part of the bedside monitor. In ICUs, complex patient conditions and heavy workload place high demand for digitalization and connectivity. mConnect's innovative bedside data integration and display offer a comprehensive, efficient, and flexible way to capture the full picture of patient status for confident diagnosis and treatment. The patient-centric data integration is also available in the central monitoring system, with original interfaces displayed on a synchronized timeline. Analyzing data from all devices, our dedicated status summary and reports provide multi-model information to help evaluate patient status completely and efficiently. Close monitoring for fast response to the deterioration of critically ill are challenging. With mConnect's intelligent alarm management, clinicians are supported with accurate alarming, role-based alarm distribution and escalation, and complete patient data for timely intervention anywhere, anytime. Patient monitoring is also more systemic and flexible with the distributed components of Central Station, View Station, and Workstation. Checking and responding to patient status is made possible in every area of the department. This further enables comprehensive and timely patient data pooling for clinical diagnosis in a multidisciplinary team meeting. Flexible access to the mConnect platform also removes the barriers for more professionals to join for remote diagnosis and treatment. As patient data flow freely across departments in the platform, mConnect has built a fully connected and patient-centric monitoring and life support ecosystem throughout the entire patient journey, from pre-hospital, intra-hospital to inter-hospital processes. The complete patient database is now extending itself for more potentials that are believed to benefit patients, clinicians, and scientists. Unlock infinite potential with the
So that's what we have. We have a very good tele-ICU solution where the patients can be monitored from remote locations and the patient's data can be seen by the clinician on their mobile phones anytime, anywhere. So that's all we have from Mindray. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nandini.